Daniel, welcome to another episode on the Double Triple podcast. Super pumped to be speaking with you today around your journey. You've obviously just landed a role coming through the Double Triple program. But before we sort of dive into things, would love for you to introduce yourself and I guess where I would love to hear like what your current work has been, but why you even explored to join Double Triple.
Yeah, 100%. First of all, Kayla, thanks for having me on the potty. It's awesome being here, obviously going through the whole journey now and obviously be able to share and give back like what's happened. But yeah, so getting to the point straight away, like why I sort of found Double Triple, why I got into techsales, is I came from basically a year experience of doing high ticket sales, right? But prior to that, my housemate was in tech sales already. And he's like, you actually need to transition and move into tech sales. Tech sales is where it's at. And so I had like a SDR kind of role anyhow, doing my high ticket sales. And then after about almost a year of that, I'm like, I've got the experience. I definitely want to transition now into tech sales. And so I found you guys first, just through Instagram. Like Kayla, you were sharing your story. And it was quite intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of, vetting you, sort of doing my background, looking at stories and whatnot. And it was just really legit. And just at the start, I still couldn't really commit at the start.
I know.
So much going on.
I was going to say, Daniel, also just for you, you have, because obviously I had taken all the sales calls. You have been the longest. I remember sitting at the gym when I was on the call with you at the gym. And I think it was like a 3-hour conversation when we were having a chat, and like we finally got there, but we had been chatting for quite some time as well.
Yeah, and I knew like I was just like in a way like just hesitant to take that kind of final step. I'm like, hey, look, and I'll show you. I've just bought a car. I can't really like do the course.
No, I remember too, and because like, there's so many rabbit holes I want to go. And sorry to interrupt you. I remember that. I remember that so clearly. But also because you'd just come from like high ticket sales as well, right? So you'd kind of just like done that. And I remember that the conversation with you a lot was, and you mentioned it just then, like you'd sort of been doing the setting side of things. And so you were trying to wrap your head too around like setting in high ticket sales, even versus like sales development representative in tech sales, and like just navigating the differences slightly in those roles in the different industries as well.
Yeah, 100%. So like I'm obviously starting in my new role now, but going through Double Triple, especially like at the very start, learning all the lingo, the language, it's a very different ballgame. Like I can just tell. You can obviously bring across like some of your high ticket skills; they are relevant, but you've got to really learn the tech game for sure, the SaaS game.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding who you're speaking to. I won't go into the depth of things, but yeah, it's definitely a different world for sure.
No, I'm keen to really draw out through like the preparation that you did for a lot of these interviews, Daniel, was like so impressive to me and Gabe of how much time and effort you put into that. So I did interrupt you, but keen to hear, obviously your housemate was in tech sales, and then you're doing like obviously personal training as well. And I come from sort of the personal training background as well, so resonated with that story from you as well. But what has been like, what was the driver for you even going from personal training to exploring high ticket sales like sort of a year ago?
Yeah, it really does come down to my housemate. Like, I knew he's sort of been doing it for a while, but I actually lived with him for like almost 2 years, and sort of living with him, seeing what he does, his own kind of like NASA set up with like screens everywhere. The way he's kind of like just very, excited about his day. He walks around the house. He's just kind of like pretty free. He's not attached to the chair type thing. We'll have a chit chat. He's on his earpiece. Oh, go take a call, bro. Like, and just like, I'm like, what is this, man? And so like, I knew like I want to get experience first in the high ticket game, but then when I felt it was the right time, like I'm definitely into tech sales.
Mm-hmm.
And so it started from that. It's the lifestyle seeing firsthand what it can bring you.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom as well, and also sort of just being honed in on something like you really love, not feeling like you're tied to it.
No, for sure. I remember that conversation too around discussing your housemate, and I was very similar when before I got into tech sales. I overheard, because me and Gabe had just met, and then Gabe got into tech sales, and I was same thing, like this just sounds so different to what I'm doing, and like the autonomy that you had, or like still it's hard work, but it's also like same thing. It's like I'm on a call now, and it was just a bit different to what I had exposure to as well. So it's when you do see that lifestyle or people
Yes.
working in tech, it really does open your eyes out to like different ways of working. When you of like what was your experience in high ticket sales? Because like you obviously could have stayed in high ticket sales, but it sounded like tech sales was actually the long term game for you, but it was almost a stepping stone for you. So what did you learn in high ticket sales that sort of led you to even get to now landing a role in tech sales?
Yeah, great question. It's pretty much like I already kind of somewhat do a little bit of this role in my personal training business, right? Like I've got an outbound prospects, close my own deals, that type of thing. But doing this at like high velocity, like fast volume, was just like a fast kind of learning experience, but at the same time too, like loving it. It's like I love just sort of like I'm just dialing in, no distractions, um, straight away jumping in, finding what someone's problem is while they're jumping on the call, and just repeating that process over and over. Um, Again, and then just sort of like just being that is like like you're just sort of like I'm not trying to say it. I'm becoming like I can see it's becoming like my new thing for sure. Like
Yeah,
what I'll be
no,
doing in the future.
no, totally. I mean, like I felt like you got so obsessed with like
Yeah.
your like passion towards like each interview and each stage was honestly like so impressive.
Oh, it's crazy. I'll
But
be like, oh, I'm at this stage now, and it's just
yeah,
like, and you guys, yeah,
it's crazy. I'm keen to jump into all that as well. But I think on your point, Daniel, like I totally agree. Like we have now a lot of personal trainers and physios inside Double Triple. And you're exactly right. Like though your role is a personal trainer or whatever, you still have to follow people up. You're around people all day, like the checking, making sure that people are rocking up, like programming, like all these skills, all the soft skills around like organization. It's just all translatable into the sales world as well.
yeah.
Well, tell us about, so obviously, yeah, you've gone personal training, high ticket sales, and now into tech sales. I do, just before we jump into maybe a little bit of like the double triple program side of things,
Cool.
are you able to share a little bit around what you feel like? Let's say someone's coming from high ticket sales into tech sales now. And I remember we had a lot of discussions around like SDR versus AE, a setter, a closer. And I know they're like same sort of terms a little bit in different industries. But what did you personally learn that is potentially different from a setter to an SDR and maybe like a closer and an account executive? Like any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I feel like the key difference there is basically probably the one thing I'll touch on in particular about that is kind of like probably like the whole sort of pipeline journey.
Hmm.
Is that obviously the duration can be a lot longer. Like in high ticket sales, what I was doing, I was obviously the entry point of that pipeline. Could have been next day for a phone call for the sales consultant or the AE, and then it's boom, you close on the spot there or there. Whereas obviously in high ticket sales and SaaS, this could be a 1 month, 6 month, 12-month kind of pipeline kind of journey type thing. So
Yeah,
learning now to be sort of a lot more strategic, a lot more patient, and a lot more kind of thorough in the process now of doing discovery, rather than trying to like get this as a one call close kind of thing. So
100%.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I think you touched on that word. It's like it's a lot more strategic, right? Than just like sort of like both work. Like you both need to do both for sales, but I think the strategic piece is super important when the sales cycles are much longer, right? That sounds awesome. So when you joined Double Triple, which it probably would have been like 8 weeks ago now. Maybe I need to double check that, but I would say it was. I don't know if you can quite remember. I could check out when we first had our conversation, but
feel good about that. Yeah, about 8 or
yeah.
sort of 9 weeks or so. Yeah,
Yeah, nice. And so you there was one process, like I'm keen for you to sort of open up and share your journey so far. Maybe start with like if you recall like what the first couple of weeks were with Double Triple working with me and Gabe, but then your first few interviews and then going through the I guess journey you went with one company, you got to the last stage and then they just basically had a hiring freeze. And then we'll pause there before we jump into the role that you've just landed. But tell us about that sort of experience that you have gone through.
yeah. All right. So I've got a pretty decent memory of this. So I'll pretty much sort of start with how I pretty much got through to the first sort of presentation I got.
Mhm.
When I joined Double Triple, like obviously I had some experience with SDR role with high ticket, obviously my PT, but I want to come in with this like a completely empty cup again. I don't want to assume like I know shit, like I know this and that. It's like I'm keeping myself completely open so I know like where I actually need to go type thing, right? And so did all that sort of my like my pipeline at the start, know the sort of like kind of industries I want to sort of sell in, like going into like SaaS or cyberspace. Want to go more to sort of SaaS for sure. And then how I got into the presentation stage of the first company I decided to go with. Um, I actually sort of hit the hiring manager separately on a connection message. But I looked at his sort of page first and see what he's sort of more recently sort of discussing about, what's top of mind for him, and sort of AI and how companies have to be positioned way better for 2026 to sort of get further ahead. And I just completely resonated with what he's saying. I can't remember word for word what I said, but I gave him a short sort of paragraph, and I think he like chewed it up. He loved it,
Yeah.
and basically set like a first meeting from there, which is I think
Yeah.
like a week later. Like this thing just compounded week after week, meeting. It's just like you come in the right kind of entry point, saying the right thing, you can really get their attention and sort of like, set yourself like, pretty well to sort of get that,
Yeah.
you know.
No, totally. I remember you were very good too at picking out things from people's LinkedIn profiles, resonating with them from like, I think it was like, I don't know, like football or something like that. You resonated F1 or whatever. Like you would merge those conversations in to make sure it was like personalizable, like to build that relationship with them as well. So tell
So,
us, you basically at one point you had like like early days, you had three interviews, I think, on the go, but then you got pretty late stage with a company. Can you share the stages that you went through part of that interview process? Because there was about what, five interviews all up, I think, with that role. And tell us about how you sort of prepared for that and the stages of what you needed to prepare for.
so I kind of at one stage had two going at the same time, and they were kind of like going in a similar direction. The first interview was kind of like, Daniel, no pressure at all. Don't bring any sort of tech knowledge here. I just want to know who you are as a person, type thing. Like, why do you want this role? What are your kind of goals and hobbies, that type of thing? Like, sort of give me a why. And that was on both kind of first presentations. And then from that, I then got into sort of like, okay, let's sort of like move into sort of a bit of a role play kind of situation. Sort of like see how you would approach this sort of situation. You get like a brief, a case study beforehand, so it gives you time to like study the brief and obviously come more prepared. And so pretty much nailed that as well with like help with you guys too. It's not just like you're on your own here. It's like I send you guys the brief. Obviously our catch up session. It's like here's the kind of ideal strategy to go with. Lean into more of this. Go here, go there. And with your help and obviously using a bit of AI as well, like nail that stage of the interview. And so you want to see me again, and obviously with the other company, sort of similar situation, not a full on sort of kind of brief, but sort of like covered almost everything, like how you approach everything. He was happy with that too, and then moved to the next. So they're both kind of climbing at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then I'll pause there in case there's anything you want to add to that. But
No, I think yeah, there was obviously like there was a pretty like presentation deck you put together. I know Gabe did a sort of walking through with yourself a fair bit in terms of the interview stages, but yeah, very much felt like you did great follow-ups too, like looking in the next meeting. You're always understanding the next stage of the interview process as well. And then you basically had you had to go on site as well for like that final
yeah,
interview stage.
okay, so yeah, definitely that first company then. So after another interview, pretty rock solid there too. He's like, okay, now the next case study, next brief is to actually come into obviously headquarters. Give us a presentation. Basically, um, choose five companies to do a bit more of a deep dive on like why you think they match ICP, um, and then sort of like why you're bringing these five companies in this particular way in order and how you go after them. There's also this was quite big actually, so I had to like
It
also
was huge.
yeah I know. And by the way, I've never done like a full-on presentation like this in a corporate way, rocking up in a suit briefcase. I'm using the PT here in casual clothes. And then, so there's the presentation of the companies. At the start was like, okay, what are sort of five discovery questions that you would do? And then also like what would be five sort of objection handling questions you would do and sort of why type thing. And then give like sort of overall summary and that sort of thing. But what was like not kind of said at the start of the brief, but you guys always kept saying is like always like talk about your ICP and go to market strategy, that type of thing. And
Mhm.
I think like discussing those things which aren't on the brief definitely sort of puts you at a higher sort of position, compared to other candidates. So this shows like you're in here with sort of more depth and more kind of like, more skin in the game kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of people will say, like, how do I break into tech sales without the tech experience? Like, I think like a lot of the people that have come through double triple haven't been in tech sales obviously before, right? But I think if you get into something like this, look how much like terminology and language you've been able to pick up coming through double triple, that therefore it sounded like you did do the research, you understood exactly what you needed to do once you landed the role. And I think most importantly, companies just want to hire people that have demonstrated all the upfront work that you've already done building out those presentation decks. And like when you basically hit the ground, they obviously have now a ramping period for people, but it's like, how quickly can you ramp, right? And so like they're trying to hire people that can hit the ground running. So if you can demonstrate that in the interview process, maybe that you haven't had SaaS experience before, they're more likely going to take a bet on someone like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They also want to see like, how good are you with like kind of quick thinking on the spot. And not to digress too far, but another interview that I had is basically like, okay, read the brief. If you want, use Claude. I'll give you like 2 minutes, jump back in and do the AI role play. I'm like, sweet, touch in Claude just to give you like maximum intel on that. Took one thing, started the chord, like actually got through it. And so,
Yeah,
like, yeah, different companies will give you different kind of role plays and briefs and presentations. So the more you're actually out there doing more, the better it is for you. Don't
totally.
necessarily think more on your plate's a bad thing. It's getting you so damn sharp,
Mhm.
especially if you come into a sort of like, the one or two companies you do want to work with. You got all this kind of like exposure and experience, which is like, getting you better prepared, which is like indirect. You don't sort of expect. It's like, oh wow, this is crossing over and helping here and helping
Yeah,
there.
I love that. I love that, Daniel. And like, what's you remind me of Alex Miles when you say that, because he had a lot of interviews at the start, and I think out like kind of like saying it's very similar to you. It's like he got to the last stage and like you had a unique situation because they had a hiring freeze, but like also Alex, they were just like you did everything right. There was just like one person that maybe did like that 0.5% better, but then because he got so good at the learning through the interview stages, he ended up like getting a way better offer than what he was even anticipating. And then like
Yeah,
that happened to you
you,
as well,
you
right?
don't even plan on map that. It's just like it's just compounding. You don't even see it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Um,
like tell us about, so obviously like, and for the folks listening, right, like how Daniel got to the last stage of this interview, which we were all in, like we ended up deciding like, no, let's put all our focus to that. And it
yeah,
was like looking like a pretty sure bet at a kind of way. But what was really cool was that they had the hiring freeze, but the person you did so well during the interview stages where they actually connected you with another tech company. And
yeah,
basically the message was like, you really need to explore Daniel, like hire him on the spot. Like that's how highly he spoke of you. And so tell us about sort of like, we were also a bit like, is this normal? Is this typical? And everything like that. It was a bit of a roller
yeah.
coaster those
Uh,
48 hours.
I'll share that because I was
Yeah.
awesome. Like in hindsight, it was awesome. But then
Yeah.
I was like, someone found it. I'm like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Um, so I did the prezzo. The three stakeholders there were like pretty raps. I got a phone call like probably half a week later, just to sort of go like, oh, how do you think you went and that type of thing. I'm like, mate, I'm actually like pretty happy with what I presented and so forth. And basically, it was like a yes, and for his sort of decision, he's like, I'm unsure. I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, what's going through your mind type thing. And it's just like, well, for the position that we had, it's for like it's an SMB role, and we kind of see you at that kind of commercial, mid-market enterprise kind of level. And so
Mhm.
there's a holding freeze. Like at the moment, it's not enough room sort of in these teams. But um, I want to put you with another company straight away because like he's sort of invested in my progress and like how I'm going.
Totally.
And talked about the other company which I'm now with. Um, and he set up the first introduction through LinkedIn. So he put me together with a hiring manager or the senior AE of the other company. Just straight after that, hire Daniel straight away. Like he's a gun. The only reason why we're not taking his hiring freeze. And it's like a little PS cheeky thing. Like I'm like, but then I jumped on the call with you guys straight away. I'm like, what does this mean about like it's a yes, but it's a no. It's a I'm like, they do this sort of thing. Um, yeah, and then that was like um, a much quicker process. There was two interviews in 1 week. So it was meeting those guys like straight away on a Monday. They were happy, put me through to the other dude in the US. Had an interview with him. That went really well, and then like a week later, like presentation mode again, like
Mhm,
and presentation mode again. But this one was online, so I
mhm,
didn't have to jump in the suit and bring a briefcase. It was a little bit more relaxed, but still obviously a little bit nerve wracking. But no, I delivered on that too. Obviously, the next stage after that was then meeting that team in person, and then jumping on another call back with him. So it's still a lot of back and forth.
mhm.
How do you think you went? Do you think it'd be a good fit there? That sort of thing. I'm like, mate, like the guys are pretty chill. They're very focused on what they're doing too, what they're doing as well. Like, yeah, basically like I'm in type thing.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
and then yeah,
We
off the roll and yeah,
No, it's so good. We are when because we were obviously every single day from like the pivot into the new interview, me and Gabe we're just like, "Oh, is today the day Daniel gets the role?" And then, like, we got the mess like, we were hanging out waiting to see if he got it, and I just remember we literally were crying on the plane, Daniel, when you messaged us. We were just like 'cause it's, like, been an emotional sort of 8 weeks, and then,
yeah,
yeah, and then obviously we were calling you,
yeah, straight
to
away, yeah.
chat, and then the lady was there staring over us like, "Get off the phone," when we're on the plane, but it was really cool, and I think the main takeaway here is, like, you ended up we don't have to go too much into figures or anything, but you ended up getting like a pretty like way more of a base than what we were sort of expecting as well, right? So like it was a good outcome,
Yeah.
and then you're also the company's flying you out to California, is it?
San Fran, yeah.
Yes. So San Francisco in the next sort of couple weeks when you start. So that's super cool for onboarding. I think that experience is so awesome when you do start a tech company because it's like so fun going over to the headquarters of where the company was founded. Like I almost feel like even though we're in Australia, the culture that you go over there for like the week or two and then you sort of bring it back over here, it's like really nice to continue building out what the founders have done as well. How are you feeling about obviously going to San Francisco, letting all like your clients know, like how has that all been at the moment?
Like two minds, right? Like I'm psyched and can't wait. The first thing I did is like, shit, can I find my passport? I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
Is it still
I remember that feeling.
on it? Like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just like even like so when I got the news and everything like that, I probably had like a 1-2 day of just like just sort of deloading in terms of study. It's like just take the dial down a little bit and just like sleep properly and everything like that. And then just like naturally like nah, I'm hungry. Like I gotta like I'm in type thing. Like I could barely like rest again. Um,
Yeah.
and then at the same time too, so like we're discussing about pretty much like when I finished PT, like giving notice to that, right? I think like a day or two later, that's where I'm going to San Fran. It's like pretty
Mhm.
damn quick.
Yeah.
And that's awesome because it shows like they're all in too. They trust me. They will really want to sort of get me to a level straight away. Um, and I'm so psyched for that. And then yeah, obviously on the side of PT, that's been like really tough just to each and every client just sort of telling what's going on, thanking them, sort of showing them like I'm going to be part of their lives and stuff like that. It's a very like a emotional kind of thing. It's not
Yeah.
easy as you think. Um,
No, it's not.
they all take it
Any
very
advice?
seriously.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. It's like a massive life and career change. And it's something you've built over the past like 10 years, right? Like that's a whole chapter of your life that is who is the person you are today. Is there any advice that you give to people? 'Cause you were working full time, like I know how busy you were with clients throughout this whole sort of process. Any advice for folks that are sort of like the amount of effort and hours you had to put in each week to land this role, but also managing full time work? How was that experience?
It just got to a point where it's just like I wasn't gonna like nominate and block hours time. It's just like if I'm not PT, I'm picking up the books or I'm like
Mhm.
on AI. I'm basically going through our modules, like going through the videos. It's just that I wanted both happening at the same time. I had to have my obligations for work, any free time. Like I'd even be thinking about stuff sometimes with clients, like with I've got to be learning for an interview and that sort of thing. Like it was always like top of mind. And
Yeah.
and the main priority is just like, okay, no matter what's happening with study and work, I've just got to get myself the minimum hour of like 6 hours sleep. If I got the sleep in, I was functional. So
What? Honestly, there was some nights I was, I think you replied at like 2 a.m. and or you had a monster at like 4 p.m. or
Except like, except like I think the night before presentation, I was like sending you a video at like 3 a.m. It's like when you get a chance to look at this in the morning, like what do you think? Like
yeah, people don't need to do that. But there was some
no, no,
crazy
no, no.
nights where I was like, Daniel, okay, go to bed.
That wasn't like that was just like I'm
Yeah.
so into it. Like I just want to like
Yeah. Yeah.
punch it up.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
like when you come into this, like it should be like that. I think like you should have that passion. You want to do the best you
Yeah,
can, and so you just make it happen.
for sure. No, I totally agree. Well, are you coming along next Saturday to Melbourne? We're catching up with everyone at Melbourne. Are you able to make that?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and make an hour of it. Like again, I've
Yeah.
got PT pretty much.
PT.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but that's awesome. We are obviously you're based in, and for the folks here, like you're based in Melbourne. I think is your current setup. I think it's like you have to go into the office maybe one or a few days a week. Is that sort of the situation?
oh mate, get this. Like it's remote, so they're like, oh, you can come in twice a week, 3 times a week. But pretty much every day you go in, they give you like a free like lunch card. Like just go in
Yeah,
whatever you want.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you're incentivized to like, and they're like, oh, the last question they had when I was like in there for like after the presentation, they're like, oh, Daniel, we have just one more question for you. It's like, what's your favorite thing to eat?
Not gonna lie, you go from personal training, you definitely put on a few kegs at the start when you get into tech sales because it is like a lot of food and you do get the
Yeah,
breakfasts and lunches and then you're like, oh shit, I really need to like cut this back, but it's hard to do because it's like food's awesome. But
yeah,
that's awesome. And I think it's really cool that you have that flexibility, right? And I know like the team's a bit smaller here, but it's also like having that flexibility to go in. And I think that is what's different from tech sales compared to other industries is like the environment that they create actually creates an environment that you want to go into the office as well. But again, when you have the flexibility to do both is also really nice.
yeah, absolutely. Like I went in there and just like everything was like just super organized, chill. Like
Yeah.
it was just great. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I went in
No,
there.
it's a
Yeah,
super nice environment. Well, Daniel, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate, working with you and excited for the next chapter and what the people that have landed the roles. I'm always excited to chat again in like 6 months' time to see how everything's progressing. But of course, I know your inside circle, other people, I know you've mentioned a few times, like you're happy to chat, connect with anyone that's also gone on a similar journey, needs help. And then, of course, we'll catch you in Melbourne with the rest of the crew next Saturday as well.
yeah, no, 100%. And let me say thank you back to you and Gabe. Like honestly, like guys, like you have so much support here through them two alone, let alone everyone else who's willing to jump on and help you out as well. Like I need help to quickly, share my screen on Meets or something like that before the presentation because I was so using Zoom and everything else. And then boom, everyone responds, helps you out for 5 minutes. Like the whole team here is like sick. But
Also,
yeah,
oh, sorry, you
no,
you continue.
I'll just quickly finish off. But like again, like what you've Gabe have done too, like just so thorough and just like knowing where I'm at, where I need to be, not overcooking it of like like what I need to learn at the right time. So I never felt
Yeah.
overwhelmed is amazing. So I can't thank you enough for sort of yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that, Daniel. And I think, yeah, no, you raise a good point too. It's like I'm also learning too, like you can go quite advanced or it's like just all it is right now is just like breaking in. So what do you need to know right now? So no, I think I appreciate those kind words. One thing I was going to mention, because it just came to mind because I had someone
Yeah.
yesterday with the same situation. They said, I don't know if I can progress because I need to go buy a new laptop. I
No,
know this is really random. That was your situation. And like I said, because you're like, no, I need to buy a new laptop. I'm like, don't buy a new laptop because the company will give you a laptop, basically. So like, are you glad you did this over buying a new laptop?
I'm glad I have like a you know pretty decent like sort of like base now,
Yeah.
rather than like buying a bloody another Mac laptop. Yeah, which I'll buy back in a week or so anyway. So it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, that's too good. But yeah, the
That's
company will give you a laptop. So
yeah,
that is awesome. But no, I appreciate the kind words, Daniel. And again, I think from anyone that is listening to this is you just did everything me and Gabe advised to do, and you weren't like all in and 100% effort. And I think anyone that's in the double triple program, me and Gabe can do as much as we can, but it's also up to the person to actually go and do the work. And you're a true testament to like just going and executing and doing the work as well. So thanks for being a part of the community, and looking forward to continue working with you over the years to come.
Yeah, no, likewise. Yeah, I'm staying, so you can't get rid of me.
Sounds good, Daniel. Well, I'll chat to you soon.
Cool. Thanks, guys.